Hey guys, this is Jacques from MakuluLinux, and the long wait is finally over. MakuluLinux Cinnamon Edition x64. So this is our first x64 release, and that's probably one of the reasons it's taken so long to do. I know the guys have been requesting for the past year and a half for me to do a 64-bit version, and I've been reluctant to do so for various reasons. I'm not going to go into all of them. I've made a long forum post on it. I didn't feel I could do a 64-bit version until I could meet all of the demands, not just EFI. There are a lot of other things to take in consideration as well. And until I could fulfill all of those requirements, I did not want to do a 64-bit version. But I've been working on it in the background, on off for a long time. And then I'd say about 3 months ago, I started putting some serious time into it, just working more and more on it. And then in the last month and a half, I've had a couple of really nice big breakthroughs. And here it is, MakuluLinux x64 Cinnamon Edition. That's the first one. I'll be making other 64-bit versions as well, but this one's really special. I managed to put so much into this version, so much. And another reason it took me so long was because of the Makulu constructor script, which I'm sure is going to be overshadowing a lot of this release. But the fact that I had to incorporate that script into this edition, and not just incorporate it into the edition, but there's a lot of background stuff that had to be adapted. For example, when the script finishes, it usually cleans up the system, so it removes a lot of the requirements to run the script. So when the user installs, he'd only have a partial script. I'd have to make the script, install what is needed, create the clone, then remove what is not needed. Otherwise, you kind of waste a lot of space. And then there's the EFI, which you would normally slap into the ISO after you've created the ISO. But I can't have the user manually doing steps like that, because I'd have people on my forums all day asking about it. So I had to find a way to incorporate the EFI without wasting that space. So there's a lot of stuff the back end that I had to literally sit and figure out and work on. But I'm glad to say that the edition is finally done, and I'm just gonna go do a little overview video on it. Nothing big or flashy. I'm going to be concentrating a lot on the functionality and maybe a bit on the themes and so forth, since I did spend a lot of time making them. Cinnamon 32-bit version Cinnamon is very similar to this one. I mean, you can see I've put a lot more effort into this one, and you're going to see quite a few new things or new items or new software as well in this version. But for the most part, they are very similar. So you'll see a lot of what's in the 32-bit you'll see in the 64-bit. Starting with, the traditional desktop layout. Most Makulu editions, you'll get either two icons on the desktop. You get a clock, calendar, you'll get a quote, you'll get a bottom panel, you'll get dual menus, you'll get system icons on the one side, favorite icons on the other side. That's pretty much the standard look that I use through most of my distros, or actually all of them at this stage. GNOME obviously will be the exception, with a bar on the top when I eventually get to do a version of that. The wallpaper changer controls the clock and the calendar and the quote on the desktop, and I'm actually quite upset about the idiot who kind of made me out to be Hitler because I use the wallpaper changer. Apparently on one of the videos that I did, I don't control these quotes. These quotes are streamed from websites. Hundreds of thousands of websites. It kind of pulls quotes from everywhere, because you pull a quote from a website, but the website's pulling a quote from 10 others, and those 10 others are pulling them from 1,000 others, and so it just kind of goes around, and you don't know who to blame for the quote, because you can't ask the website to remove it, because they've got to then, it gets a big mess at the end of the day. But suffice to say, I'm not in control of these quotes, and they're constantly changing. So while I was doing a video, one of the quotes came through, apparently a quote done that kind of a quote from Hitler, you know, and these quotes are famous quotes, good or bad. They are famous quotes. I mean, Hitler was a really bad guy, but he is in the history books, so they're bound to be quotes on, you know, quotes that he said or quotes about him, and that kind of thing. And if you don't like a quote, you can always just go to quote and change the quote to something else, you know, and change it again if you don't like that one. So you can manually change quotes if you don't like them. But yeah, I was just a little bit upset that the guy made me out to be some kind of Nazi because of some quote that came through, and actually tried to have me banned, which by the way failed miserably. But anyway, so don't take it to heart if you see a quote on the screen that you don't like. I mean, I do not control them. They do change themselves as well. I'm just saying that for future videos. So yeah, so you got variety wallpaper changer controlling the clock and the quote. You got the dual menus. You got your accessible menu on the left. Okay, the reason I say it's accessible is that that's the theme that I'm using. It's got the accessible panel over here, which is basically an extension of your favorites. Okay, then you got your categories, and then you got your subcategories. You'll see at the top here, over here, you've got a nice little information, nice bold font, very bright, very nice, easy to see, that kind of breaks down what it is that you kind of hovering your mouse over. Bottom left, you got the system icons, the control icons to quit, log out, and lock screen. You've also got a search bar, so it's a very nice little menu. You know, it's not big, it's not bulky. It's shorter in height than the Mint menu. It's a little bit wider. I could make it less wider, but you know, you kind of sometimes get these apps that kind of take up all the space, and you want to see what the whole thing says. So I kind of like it like that, you know. It's not too wide, and you can see through it, you know. It's got a little sort of a semi-transparent look, so it's not really in the way. It's very nice and round. It's got nice borders. It's a very, very nice, easy to use menu. It's simple, but it does what it's supposed to do, and it does it nicely. On the other side of the screen, we've got the Synapse launcher, which is a brilliant little launcher. I've started including it in almost all my distros. And this version actually changes skin with the themes. I'm going to get into the themes in about a minute. So when you change themes, the skin of the launcher changes. You'll also notice that Synapse on this edition is a lot faster than it's supposed to be. It's basically instant. There's like no 2-second delay or second delay, and that's because I actually have it running 24/7. It uses such little resources that really, I mean, there's no point in having it switched off and switched on. It uses such a tiny bit of memory, but this is currently constantly, it's always in memory, so that kind of brings it up, you know, instant. Very nice. So that small little adjustment from Synapse previously to now is that it changes theme with the OS, and it constantly stays in memory as live, and therefore it's quick to open up. You know, I like it like that, because you want to search something you want to search. You don't still want to, and I mean, you won't normally see such a delay, but when you've got a lot of things open, you know, using a lot of memory and things like that, little things like that do matter. So that makes a big difference. Now I want to get into the themes before I get into the software and so forth. MakuluLinux x64 edition comes with 8 different themes. I've made 8 themes for it. I've given them simple names. They all start with Makulu, and the reason for that is, you know, users are going to install probably 100 different other themes and then get lost and not know which were original and which weren't original. So you'll see all the Makulu and then the color of the theme. I thought I'd keep it plain and simple. They are the default themes. Okay, so there's 8 of them. You get a blue, a dark green, a grey, a orange, a white, and a wine color. Okay, so it's a nice variety. The wine is actually more very pinkish color. I don't know if there's guys or girls that like pink, but it's very bright, but if you do, it's there. So there's a nice wide variety of colors available. Now I know not a lot of people are going to use the bright orange or the bright wine or the bright green, you know. Most people will probably use the dark, the gray, and the blue. I'd say those are probably going to be the 3 popular ones, maybe the white as well, maybe 4 popular ones. But you know, you've got to accommodate everybody. There are people that do like bright colors, and nobody ever really puts anything in for them. So yeah, I just thought I'd do that for a change. So you're doing another thing is you've got to change a theme on. There's 4 places you actually got to change a theme. You've got your shell theme. When you open up themes, that's what you see here. Then you go to other settings and you go to controls, border windows, and of course if you open up your menu here, go to administration, light DM manager, which says customize your login screen. There you can change a theme as well. So there are 4 places you change your theme. Okay, so for the most part, if you're just going to be jumping between themes, then just change these 3. But if you settle on a theme, then you might want to put your login screen to use the same theme. Okay, so this is the dark theme. It's very nice. I love the actual window buttons, nice and spacious. You know, they're not crowded. They're nice. They've got nice little hover effect. It's got a cross and a little square and a little arrow. Very simple, very nice. The colors are nice. It's nice dark gray, but at the same time the text is very nice bright white, so easy to see. You especially get very nice effects with the terminal, you know, because the terminal is sort of semi-transparent, but a sort of a darker on top, lighter at the bottom, and then you've got your dark shadows. So when you've got a dark theme, it just complements, you know, the whole bundle kind of thing. So you can actually see the shadows when I select it, and then when I deselect it, look on the sides of the actual terminal, you see the shadows come on and off. So so yeah, very nice theme. I thought I'd set the dark as the default because it complements the whole OS. Of course you can choose the gray one, which is a very lighter theme. So if we switch over to gray, apply theme, then of course I've got to go to Makulu gray here and then go to Makulu gray there. See, now you've got a different theme, much lighter. For the guys that don't like dark themes, you like light themes, you're gonna love this theme. It's very nice. It's like a steel gray almost, you know, very nice, very light, very easy to see. The buttons are nice. They kind of change with a minimize and maximize. You see there it's like a maximized cross kind of thing, and when you maximize, it shows a little different little icon to minimize or to make it smaller. So very nice themes. They really do complement the system well. Even the gray looks stunning with something like the terminal open. So that's the gray theme. The blue theme, I realize this is not going to be for everybody, but it is kind of one of those really weird looking themes, but at the same time very nice. As you can see, very nice theme. It's got blue with gold. So it's got the gold borders, got the gold text, except for the panel, of course. That's always white text, and then you get the gold text as well. Over here, you've got sort of with the border, you've got a bit of a sort of a gradient. I don't know, like a pattern on it, which is quite nice. So yeah, the blue theme is also a very nice theme. Then you get the dark green, which is a sort of a gray green. Actually, I should have maybe named it that, but anyway. The dark green, which is sort of a gray background with green text, green highlights. Very simple as well. Over here you'll see with most of the themes you've got a gradient transparency where it goes dark from the bottom and then transparent at the top. The gray green is the other way around. It starts dark on top and then it goes transparent as it goes further down. I made it like that because it actually makes the bottom panel kind of look like a bubble. You know, I love that. So that's the dark green, and then if we go over to the green, which is a much brighter green, that kind of comes in a variety of like sort of a mixture of green and orange and white and blue as well. As you can see, it highlights blue. The buttons on top are simple, but yet they kind of suit the theme. The highlights here are orange, as you can see. The menu as well, that's kind of like a lime green and then a much brighter green, but it is not transparent. This theme does not really have transparency as such. You know, you can't make everything transparent. That would just be too overkill. So but there's a lot of guys, I'm sure, that will like the green, you know, especially guys that love the color green. They'll enjoy this theme. It's a very nice theme. I've showed you the gray theme, I've showed you the dark. Okay, the orange theme. Ooh, bright orange for the guys that love bright orange. Okay, so there we go. The orange theme. It's got nice buttons that kind of highlight, they kind of pop out. the whole theme is very bright orange with black and white text. So the font on the bar there will be sort of white, and on the actual white part it is sort of a black, yeah, with an orange highlight, and there the highlight is gray. So it's also a mixture of colors. The panel at the bottom is a very sort of a XP kind of panel, like Windows XP, plain simple. The menu is semi-transparent, but it's also a gradient transparency. It starts dark on top, and then it goes lighter at the bottom, and then eventually much more transparent at the bottom. So you'll notice throughout this whole system I've used a lot of the whole sort of a gradient transparency, because it just adds to the effect, you know. I mean, I could make this the same transparency across the board right through. I did that with a dark theme on the menu, but that suits the dark theme, you know. With the something like the orange, you've got to sort of just add that little something extra just to make it interesting, otherwise you end up with this plain orange color, you know. And so I came up with a sort of, it's less transparent on top but more transparent at the bottom. So that's very, very awesome. I did a similar thing with the wine colored one, but I'll show you that in a bit. If you go to the white theme, now the white theme I kept very standard, very plain, you know. That's kind of like oh, I didn't change the white there. Apply the white theme there. The white theme is very white and black, you know. You've got the black border over there, and then you've got the rest of the theme is pretty much white. What can you say more about white? It's just very white, grey and black. So white, black and grey, it's pretty much what you get. Sort of big fonts with a clock, you know, kind of very bold. It's very white in color, so the guys that love white will like that kind of thing. I'm not a big white fan, but I included it for the guys that are. I know one of the testers was raving about it. He really likes the white. So let's move on to the wine color. This is going to be one that's probably not going to be very popular among certain people, but this as well, if you open up the menu, you'll see I did a very similar thing to the orange, except I added a lot more transparency here, a lot more. So here it starts off very dark, you know, the actual color of the theme, but very bright. You can actually see the very bright pink on top, and then it becomes less bright, and then eventually starts going transparent, and then as you see at the bottom it is completely transparent. You can't even see the menu borders near the bottom. So that kind of gives that a really nice effect for the menu. You can still see all the text, and you can see you've got a nice little gray highlight there, sort of a transparent gray highlight, you know. So it adds really nice effects. So the girls or guys that do like pink, you know, you're gonna love this kind of effect on the actual theme. And you get the same theme when you open up something like your calendar or your power settings. You know, you've kind of got the whole gradient effect going there as well. So it is a pretty theme. The bottom panel is gradient as well. Of course, the when you open up your file manager or a window, you've got a very much bright pink, you know. So people that love pink will like that. People that don't won't, but hey, it's optional to use it. But it is a very nice looking theme for the color that it is. Terminal as well, also very pink. It's got the nice little, you see the nice little thin pink border, also the whole gradient transparency, pink on top, white text, very nice. The color just complements the system, I guess. So so yeah, that's the bright pink theme. So you've got basically 6 themes eight themes that you kind of can use on the system. By default the dark theme is enabled, but of course if you don't like the dark theme, you can choose something else. That's the nice thing about this version, is that I gave variety and options for the user to have the ability to change to whatever they want. So so that's pretty much the themes. You've got 8 nice themes to choose from. The rest, well, the rest is pretty much standard. You've got your clock, and you've got your volume, and you've got your network, you've got your power. You've got a little news reader over here to see the latest posts on the front page of Makulu website. You've got your windows, you've got notifications. Actually, what I wanted to show you, let's go to themes again. Just wanted to show you something here. If I change like to, let's say, the blue theme, apply the theme, blue theme, let's go blue, actually no, let's go gray. I want to be on gray for a bit, so let's go gray, apply theme. Right, you'll also see now that synapse will change to gray as well. If I change to pink, synapse will become pink. I just wanted to show that working. So so yeah, that's the gray theme, very nice. I'm just going to go back to black. Some of the themes you'll notice, for example, you can also mix match, by the way. I mean, here I've got the light green theme. Here I've got the light green theme with the gray, with the actual mix to the gray GTK theme. So it's a black, the dark shell theme with the GTK 3 gray theme. So that's nice too, you know, mix and matching. I mean, somebody might like the pink shell, but then they want a green or a blue, and then they might like the borders of something else, you know. Although, so you know, you can mix and match the themes as well. I mean, you get people, I guess, that will like the funky colors. So that's always nice, you know, that you've got the options to do all of that. I'm going to go back to the dark theme though. That's my favorite. As I pointed out in some other videos, but for the guys that haven't seen it, the panel on most of the themes is also sort of a gradient transparency, where it's transparent either at the top or bottom, and then the other way around, where it kind of goes like from the actual dark to complete transparency as you go up on the panel or down on the panel. For example, this one. And the reason I did that, especially with going from dark to very transparent on top, is because it kind of makes the wallpaper blend with the panel. So if you actually look at the panel, you'll see, you can't really see where on certain parts, you can't really see where the wallpaper ends and where the panel starts. It kind of looks like one thing. And if you actually imagine a line there, it actually looks like above the line you've got one, and below the line you've got another, where another image where it kind of looks like the building upside down being reflected on the panel, but it's not. All it is just the wallpaper showing through. The actual reflection of the upside down is that whole picture over there. But anyway, so it gives a lot of nice effects. The software included are most of the standard software. Okay, you got your Steam. We've got Steam fully functional 64-bit. It runs compatible with 32-bit games and 64-bit games. So I've got 32-bit and 64-bit architecture working in this build, so you can install debs from both 32 and 64-bit. So that's very nice. That you do not get in a lot of distros at all. I know most, if not all of them, come either with 64-bit or 32-bit, but they do not add the 32-bit architecture. And I understand why. There's a lot of complications that do come with it, and that's one of the reasons this has taken me so long to release. But this release does support both 32 and 64-bit architecture. You do need a 64-bit capable CPU to run it though, but it does support both. So Steam fully functional, Play on Linux fully functional, which means Wine is fully functional. So both these 32 and 64-bit architecture versions are installed, so that's quite nice. You got a couple of other games. You got under image, under graphics, you got image viewer, you got MyPaint and Pinter. You've also got the return of Dropbox, which at one stage we used to have but then removed. I've put that back, so Dropbox is back. Skype is in here, so that's a first for us, Skype, and that actually took a lot of space, 158 megs of space, but it's very handy, and I find myself using it more and more. And I know I don't like Microsoft, but you know, Skype is used by pretty much everybody else, which forces me to use it. So it's kind of being between a rock and a hard place. You know, you don't really have a choice. So for that reason, I included it. Pigeon's obviously in there, Thunderbird's in there, Chromium web browser's in there, and you'll see Netflix is in there. Now Netflix works straight off the Chrome browser. I put a shortcut here because it actually enables extensions and so forth when you use Netflix, and I don't know how it's going to run here because I'm actually busy uploading the ISO in the background, so my net is going to be pathetically slow. But if you click on Netflix, it will take you to netflix.com. You've got a we'll say here, sorry, your country is not supported, but if you look here, you've got a little holler. It's a little holler thing here. If you click on that, you can select a supported country. There we go. Select, and I select United States, for example. So Netflix works in unsupported countries with that little extension. So I select the United States, and then it refreshes itself, and now I can use Netflix. There we go. I can sign in if I want. I've also got a couple of extensions installed here that sort of enhances the controls on screen, so that's very nice. So yeah, Netflix fully operational. I've tested it, it's working. I made myself a trial account, and I used it for a bit. I mean, South Africa, so the streaming is not ideal in this country. It will be when I go to China. I'll probably use it a lot more there. But yeah, it's not ideal to really watch Netflix at the moment, but it was working. You know, if I kind of started the stream, paused it, let it run for a while, and then played it played very well. So yeah, Netflix fully functional. You can also install Popcorn Time if you go to Synaptic Package Manager. Let's log in over here. I did show this on another video. If you search here, Popcorn, there you go, Popcorn Time. You can install that with a click of a button. Just right click, mark for installation. Okay, this I need to it's because of the repos. I haven't refreshed the repos, but if I do refresh the repos, I can just right click, install Popcorn Time with a click of a button. It's all automated, very easy, very nice. Office, you got the WPS Office installed, so that's pretty cool. Very nice Office edition. I'm not going to do a review of that now. That's, you can see that all over the show. Very nice Office system. Sound and video, you got Audacious audio player, you got Brasero for your burning of your CDs and stuff. You got MiniTube, which is awesome for watching YouTube videos. Very nice little tool. You know, for going straight to YouTube and just browsing the channels or whatever, or searching even. Sorry, my net is slow. I really don't like opening up stuff that uses the internet to show off, because it kind of makes everything look slow. Just hold on, it will load in due time. But there we go. You can just kind of click on a category and then watch. So MiniTube working out of the box. You've also got the Pulse Audio Volume Controller as well as VeroMix. You've got Radio Tray. Radio Tray is awesome. So if I click on Radio Tray, it puts a little that's also connecting to the internet now. It puts a little icon in the panel, and you can just right click that and configure radios, or you can just click on it, I think, yeah, and you can kind of just choose something like Oldies and Sky FM. I actually like that little channel sometimes when I want to sort of just listen to like stuff that was played in the 60s, although that's very old. But they do sometimes play some like really cool 60s stuff and so forth. But anyway, so that is Radio Tray. Just sits in the background, doesn't bother you. Very awesome. And of course you got VLC Media Playing. You got the return of Voco screen. I've put that back into Makulu. At one stage I had it in, then they made a mess of a couple of versions, so I removed it, but that's back. And the preferences, you've got all your standard stuff. You've got the new items. There's Bluetooth manager, and of course the device driver. Everything else is pretty much standard. An administrator, you've got your bleach bit, boot repair, boot info. Very handy, that boot repair, by the way. Deconf editor, gparted, crub customize. You can customize your crub screen. You got LightDM. You got the Makulu constructor. I'll get into that in a minute. Synaptic Package Manager, you got the software manager, system monitor. It's quite a nice little system monitor. It's the Mate system monitor. I really like it. And then you've got unit booting, which is always awesome for making bootable USB drives, flash drives. Especially it complements the Makulu constructor, because you make an ISO using that, and then you use unit booting to make the ISO bootable. And of course you got the XFCE terminal inside Cinnamon. Doesn't that sound weird, using XFCE terminal? But you know, I'm in love with the XFCE terminal. It allows me to really theme it very well. I like that, and it's very powerful. So I use it in almost all my distros. It's hardly got any dependencies, so it installs only a few megabytes. Very nice. Of course, the accessible panel on the left, because you've got your favorite icons at the bottom, and then you've got the accessible panel on the left. Sorry. You got the accessible panel on the left that's got some extended, it's an extension of the favorites. And over here you'll find a couple of favorites. Oh, sorry, LeafPad. LeafPad is the simple text editor. But if you open up your settings, system settings, you'll see that I've added a lot more system settings here than you would find in the normal system settings. You've got the login manager here, they've got the group customize, you've got the dconf editor over there. You've got the device drivers over here. You've got your update manager, your system monitor, you've got your Bluetooth manager. Those are all that's usually not included in your system settings. You've got your firewall and your antivirus, and yes, this version comes out with a built-in firewall, because I've had a guy sending me various emails about firewalls. There is already a firewall built into the system. You don't have to still go install your own, and it's very easy to use, and it's got a nice little GUI. The same with the antivirus. There is a built-in antivirus. If you actually go to like a folder or a file, you can just right click and scan for viruses. Very simple. It's integrated into the context menu. That's very nice. Also, if you've got a picture, you can just right click the picture and set as wallpaper. So that's also another little extra context menu entry that I've created. So very nice. The settings panel is nice. It's got everything all in one place, pretty much everything you need. The guys that want to change language, of course you do it by languages, inside your actual system settings, which is nice. And the guys that want to change the keyboard layouts, you do it at keyboard layouts. I keep getting guys trying to change the language and they think the keyboard layout is going to automatically change with it. There's a reason there's a keyboard layouts tab, so please change it on both sides. Change your language and your location over there, but then go to keyboard and change your keyboard over there. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole of the distro. You're gonna see it looks very beautiful because I've spent a lot of time on these themes. I mean, I manually set and edit every little inch of it. Now, I did not create them from scratch. I'm a firm believer that if something's already done, why redo it? Okay, I mean, it's different thing if there's a lot of copyright, and that's one of the things I hate about Microsoft, is that everything's copyright and it forces every developer to always start everything from scratch. But in Linux world, that's not the case. You know, everything's pretty much freeware, so if somebody's done something, why redo it? Why not just use existing code, adapt it and make it better, or adapt it to suit your needs? So I do that with themes as well. I go out and I find the best possible theme or something that I'm interested in developing further, and then I'll go and I'll make it my own. So I've pretty much done that with the themes. Okay, so all of these themes were originally created by whoever. I always leave in the config files and stuff, in the readmes and so forth, I always leave their credits. I don't remove that. So if you're really interested in who created the original theme, you can always go have a look there. But it's also a mixture, you know. I'll use one kind of shell theme, but another kind of GTK theme as well, and then I'll somehow, with a lot of time and effort, I'll make them blend and that kind of thing. This border theme is not the standard border theme that came with a GTK. These are two different themes. The dark is a third different, so it's three different themes that I used to create this effect. So, you know, that kind of thing. It's just radio tray clear notifications. So yeah, so that's pretty much the Makulu constructor was originally the refractor snapshot, you know, and I've spent months and months adapting it so that I could build Debian basis on it. Actually, more than months. I think my very first Debian I started using refractor, and that was like 2 years ago, and I've been sort of adapting that script over time, making it my own. So that's literally 2 years worth of work that I've put into the script eventually. Just little edits here and there, adapting, then some major edits, and then you know, just a lot of different stuff. And then in the end I came out with Makulu constructor. But where this differs from refractor is quite difficult to use to most novice users, in the fact that you have to do a lot of manual editing in the config files. You get they use YUD, you know, but they also have a really sort of very functional, but to me very ugly and very difficult installer. I don't know if you guys remember the first few editions of Makulu, where we had that disaster with that installer that had about 1 million options and confused even advanced users who didn't know which way to go. So that's the refractor installer that came with a refractor snapshot. So you can imagine how difficult that was, or I mean, you saw. So now imagine developing on that. You saw all those options. Now imagine developing on that. So I've simplified everything. I've literally rewritten a lot of stuff, and in the end I came up with Makulu Constructor, which is very simple. I've adapted the LMDE installer to work with it. So it's got a very simple basic installer, very similar to the Mint installer, that works with Makulu Constructor. This constructor is awesome. Awesome. Probably the best thing I've ever done on Debian was to create this. And I know this is going to be the highlight of the release for most people. But basically with Makulu Constructor, you can make a one-to-one clone of your system. That means you can basically change anything. You can remove the desktop icons, you can change the wallpaper to something else, you can change the theme, you can remove software, add software, customize the menu, customize everything. And when you've customized it, click on Makulu Constructor, start it, build your ISO, out it pops, and that ISO you can then go and install on a new system. And when you boot up into live mode, it will have the changes that you made on the system. So it saves it at the time that you create the ISO, how the system looks, that's how it will be saved, okay? And it's got a high compression rate, high. I mean, you see everything I've put into this distro. Multiple themes, multiple wallpapers. I've got lots of software in here. Okay, now the Mint, the Debian Mint version, the Debian Cinnamon Mint version has almost nothing in it. It's very plain. It's got maybe an audio player and a video player and so forth. But it's got nothing. It's got no Steam, no Wine, no nothing. And I mean, Steam on its own takes like 200 megs. Wine takes a couple hundred megs. Office takes almost 500 megs on its own. There's a lot of stuff in here that I've included. I've included MyPaint, which is about 90 megs. Pinter, I think, is about another 20 or 40 megs. So you add all of this up. There's a lot of stuff in here. A lot. And their image is 1.3 gigabytes. Their ISO is 1.3 gigabytes, okay? With almost nothing in it. MakuluLinux, I think this installs about 9 gigs on your system, or just about. All of this I've compressed into 1.3 gigabytes. So my ISO is the same size as their ISO, and they've got almost nothing in their system. I mean, and it's very plain. They didn't even, like really enhance it with too many wallpapers. Well, I think they did. I'm not sure. I haven't tried the latest version. I did read something about wallpapers, so I might be mistaken there. I think that maybe they did add some wallpapers. But I mean, they've got a couple of very plain themes and stuff. They didn't really go all out with space. I think they were trying to save space. But I just wanted to point out that the compression on the system is so great that I managed to put all of this in and still maintain the same ISO size than the original Mint team made with the original Cinnamon. Okay, so that's how much compression you have on this Makulu Constructor, and that is just amazing. So you can literally create a really amazing system by customizing, editing to your heart's desire, and then making an ISO. And this ISO you can put on a DVD, or you can put in a USB drive and pop it into your cupboard, and then a month later restore it if you want to, if you screwed up your system, or if you want to, whatever. Some guys distro hop, so they'll install the system the way they like. Just hold on, I'm just going to go stop that dog quickly. Hold on, he's going to keep barking now. Okay, sorry man, I just had to close the door. He's barking at a cat in the street, I think. Anyway, so if you distro hop a lot, but you like the way you've laid out the desktop, you can just back it up onto a USB or a DVD, stick it into a drawer, play with other distros, feel like coming back to it, pop in the USB, put into live mode, start the installer, install it, and it will be exactly where you left it. So awesome for backing up. Really awesome. And with a compression ratio, you won't have this massive ISO, even if you do add some more software. The other handy thing about it is the guys that might want to install it on like some company or something, you got like, or internet cafe or whatever, and you have 30 PCs you need to install it on. but you don't want certain software on the edition so people don't mess with the PC, or you've got your certain software that you want on it or whatever. You can kind of just customize it once the way you like it, then create this backup clone, and then just pop it onto a USB or DVD and just go to each system and just install it. And you don't have to re-customize every version, every PC. That's very nice. It's very easy to use. It's almost like a couple of clicks and out pops an ISO. So when you start it up, you'll get this little information thing. The next screen will tell you, give you some information on the scripts, and it will tell you first need to copy the contents of your home folder to etc skel. I've actually made a video on this, so you can go watch the video. It is there on our website. So that is always always handy. Always make sure you back up your home folder to skel. Okay, and then it will say yes, I'm ready. If you click yes, it will start up. It will actually put the installer icon on the desktop, because the installer is actually being inserted now into the actual system. And then you put in your password and you push enter, and it will give you some information, and you push enter again, and here it will ask you what you want to name your distro. You can keep the same name or change it to a different name. And if I push enter now, it will start building. And then when it's done, out will pop the ISO. It will notify you that the ISO has been created, and that's it. There's no other steps. There's nothing to change. There's nothing to edit. There's no configs to edit. There's no other user input. You put in your password, and if you want to change the distro name, you change it. Other than that, there's nothing else to do. That's how simple it is to build this ISO. If I now close this, it will actually tell me that it's been completed, because that's just the next step. And if there's a problem, blah 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 blah. Okay, so and it will then remove the icon from the desktop. So that's pretty much Makulu Constructor. It's very easy to use, couple of clicks and you're there. I mean, nothing else to it. It even tells you, if you start it up and you say sort of no, it will actually even pop up and alert you that it's been aborted, and it will clean the temp files in the background, so there's nothing being left over, that kind of just constrains the system. So very easy to use. And not just that, it actually builds the EFI into the ISO, so you can create your ISO even on a non-EFI system. You can create an ISO, and that ISO will boot into an EFI system, or you can build it on an EFI system and install on a non-EFI system. It's compatible both ways. So this constructor makes an ISO that is compatible with EFI and secure boot. So it's very, very, very awesome, very automated. It does it all for you. There's nothing you have to do other than put in your password, and if you want to change your distro name, change it. Other than that, the rest is just click, done. It does take a while to build though. I will not lie to you. You're going to sit a good 30-40 minutes, and if you have like really shitty hardware, you might sit an hour or two, whatever, because there is a lot of compression going on, so it does take a while to build. But at the end of the day, you've got a very nice small ISO, so I wouldn't complain too much about that. But that's really just depends on your system specs. If you have a quad-core PC or an 8-core PC with 32 gigs of RAM, obviously it's going to run a lot faster on your system. And obviously if you've got the top end i7, it's probably going to fly compared to the rest of the guys. But for what it's supposed to do, it's brilliant. It has never ever been this easy to build on Debian before. And when I say ever, I mean ever. I think a lot of the developers out there that create distributions don't even have it this easy, and I create all my Debian distributions on the script that I made. So even this Makulu Cinnamon build that you see here was created with the Makulu constructor. So so you see what it's capable of. I mean, you just click it, when it starts up, go okay, yes, and that's it. Brilliant little thing. The other okay, there we go. Sorry, just cancel that. I'm just gonna abort here. No. The installer. Sorry, man, that's what I wanted to show you guys. The installer. So let's go. Okay. Sorry, let me just get that installer back here. Yes, I just want to get the installer. Just give it a few seconds. Okay, the installer, I don't know if it's actually going to run here because this is not a live mode, but I think it should boot up. The installer should boot up. I just want to show you the installer, just quickly cover that just for like a second or two. The installer in MakuluLinux, like I said, is the LMDE installer. I wonder if this is going to work. I think it's searching translations and all kinds of crap now that's not on there. But I think it still will work. I think it just takes longer on this mode. In live mode it pops up much quicker. There we go. Okay, installer is very simple. Choose language, next. Choose your location, so you just move the pin or choose from the drop down menu, next. Choose your keyboard layout, next. Choose a picture, obviously your picture for your distro, so choose whatever you want, and then when that is done you put in your full name, your username, your passwords, log on automatically if you want to. Most of the time I do, it's easier. Put your host name, next. Select your partition, next. Grub, where you want to install grub loader, next. Done. Installs. Very easy to use, very nice. Theme as well. Okay, let's just close this and let it remove all of that. I've changed a lot of the branding. You'll see that I don't no longer use the little hippo. So a lot of guys obviously that thought it was immature. I'm sure you'll like that move. You'll see the two M icons on both sides of the border, the panel. You'll also see everywhere. If you like, right click something and choose configure, or you'll also see the little M. If you actually log out to the login screen, let's log out. Let's get to the login screen. You'll also notice here that I've got the Makulu branding in here. It says MakuluLinux built with Makulu constructor, and of course when you actually boot it up, the grub screen will also have the new logos and things. So that's pretty much Makulu Cinnamon Edition in a nutshell. Very awesome, very brilliant. There's a lot in here. It's compatible with 32 and 64-bit architecture, comes with Steam and Wine pre-installed, a lot of great software. This is in VirtualBox, I'm sorry, so it will be a little slow because I am uploading ISO to various places in the background and I've got stuff open everywhere. And I'm on a laptop, so this is a kind of a standard for me. Very nice look, very nice themes. You've got gradient transparency all over the show. You know, there's still the standard effects as well in Cinnamon. Like, for example, you can just hold your mouse over the top and you can sort of just scroll the mouse wheel and that will make the window transparent. So you've got a lot of those effects. You've also got well, let's just go here to extensions. Where's extensions? Extensions. There's effects, there's extensions. You've also got the cube that you can enable. You've got there we go, extensions. You got the Windows grid, you got GTile, you got the desktop scroller, you got the cube, you got wobbly windows. So there's a lot of, I think the cube is enabled by default, yes, although it's obviously not as cool as the compass cube, but it is enabled. And you can enable wobbly windows. They don't really work all that great inside VirtualBox, but on actual hardware you can really configure them to work nice. I mean, this is about the best I can get it in VirtualBox. There is going to be screen tearing, but on actual hardware you can play with that. It's got configure, it's got sliders here. You can set those until they kind of work well. But yeah, so there are some special effects that you can add and so forth. I mean, that's the nice thing about Cinnamon, is that they did actually spend time on that. There's desklets that you can add as well. So nice effects, nice themes, very nice. You've got nice wallpapers here. If you actually got a wallpaper selector, you'll see there's a whole range of really nice wallpapers. Just let them load up there. So yeah, you've got some really nice wallpapers. You can go crazy with those. You got the constructor in here. You've got a full nice office suite in here. You got some nice additions with the radio tray. Yeah, I think this is going to be a really nice release for 64-bit. It's fully EFI compatible, so you can stick it into your EFI system, boot it up, install it. Non-EFI also supported, so you can use that as well. And of course, we've got 26 testers. We had one tester that had problems with EFI. So of course the EFI does not seem to work with every single system 100% out there. And I think that's got to do with the EFI being on the boot in the BIOS or in the OS itself. I don't know how that. There's a lot of complications with EFI. For the most part, it does work. If your system is not supported, then unfortunately you're going to have to disable EFI. But I think about 95 or 99% of users will be able to use this out the box with EFI without any problems. The reason I included unit bootin was because it is the recommended boot USB maker. We've had guys testing tools with creating USBs. Some of them wouldn't do the EFI properly, but unit bootin, that was recommended. Most of the guys used that and had no problems with creating bootable USB with unit bootin. So that's the recommended one to use. So yeah, that's Cinnamon MakuluLinux x64. Finally it's here. You guys can now run 64-bit version. I hope you're super psyched about this. It's 32 and 64-bit architecture. You got a kick-ass system clone app here, Makulu Constructor, and I'm always updating it. I'm always adding new stuff. In fact, while I was making the video, I kind of saw something I want to change already. So there'll be lots of updates to this. And of course, there's the standalone version. You know, this is the version I include with the distro, and it's not recommended to use a standalone because you'd have to break down this whole edition to make it your own. And I've made so many customizations, you're gonna have a really hard time with that. But there is a standalone full kit available for it, where you can build a distro from scratch. So any developers out there watching this that want to use it to build their own distro, it is compatible with Debian 8, and I'm happy to sort of assist you with that, get you on your way. There is a full kit available. The kit allows you to rebrand, to go crazy. You can make your own distro no matter what desktop environment is from scratch. The kit is amazing. Of course, you can visit the constructor.makululinux.com for more info on that. I've put a couple of videos up. So that's pretty much MakuluLinux x64 Cinnamon Edition in a nutshell. It is packed with awesomeness. From the word go to the word end, it is just awesome all the way through. So I think you guys will like this. I don't really like this image. Just change to something else. Okay, that's cool. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Hope you guys enjoy it. I will obviously be focusing on a lot more Debian editions from here onwards. So since I'm back in Debian development, I've gone through my Ubuntu phase. From now on, there'll be a lot more Debian editions, and I will do the 64-bit since they are 32-bit compatible with the architecture. Unless I do like something like LXDE that runs on older systems, I might make that a 32-bit. And if users request a 32-bit version of a OS, I might consider it if I have time to do so. Of course, with the addition of Makulu Constructor now, I run two websites now. It's the Makulu website and the Constructor website. So I do also focus some of my time on enhancing and improving the Constructor script. And the reason for that is I used to just make distributions, and now I'm actually assisting other people to make distributions as well, which is pretty much the next step if you think about it. So I kind of work on two fronts. You know, I'm working on my own distributions, and I'm also assisting to give birth to maybe hundreds or thousands of possible other distros as well. So it's kind of my way of giving back to the community, if you know what I mean. So I'm happy to do it. I love what I do. I know a lot of people say, "Yo, but this is a one-man distro. How long is it going to be around?" Well, I keep putting out distros and I'm still here. If every time you look, I'm here. And not just that, they keep getting better and better and more awesome with every distro. And not just that, now I'm actually building the tools to build the distro, and that takes work and dedication, and that's just a whole extra site I have to maintain and pay for and stuff. So I'm putting a lot of effort in, and clearly I'm not going anywhere. So you guys don't need to freak out that I'm just a one-man show at this point in time. If anybody wants to assist with the project, you guys are welcome to do so. I have asked for help in the past. Nobody's offered, so what am I supposed to do? I just got to keep moving forward. And luckily I do have skills in graphics and some programming, and sort of all over, some scripting and stuff like that, so all over the show. And that's kind of worked to my advantage, and it's allowed me to be a solo developer because I can kind of do a little bit of everything. But yeah, MakuluLinux Cinnamon Edition, it's going live anytime now. I'm just uploading the ISOs, then I'll send the email to DistroWatch, and then I'll put this video up and the release notes up and then the download links up. I think by tomorrow it should probably be live, because these ISOs take like about 10-12 hours to upload sometimes. But I hope you guys love it. I hope you enjoy it. Comments, I love comments, I love feedback, I love emails. If you guys want to donate to the project, I really love donations. I am going to China, so donations do help. I'm trying to save, but every time I kind of save, expenses come up. Car breaks, this breaks, that needs to be paid. Some paperwork needs to be done. Website suddenly needs to be paid. There's always stuff, so it is a difficult thing. I'll do it on my own. I'm not asking for charity. I've always been a go-getter. I make something happen, then I make it happen. But I won't lie to you, donations do greatly help the project. So if you want to donate, go ahead and donate. Thank you for that. I really appreciate the guys that do help out the project. You have no idea what kind of stress it takes off me. So there it is, you guys. Hope you guys enjoy it. I will be making more distributions. Makulu, this is only the beginning for Makulu. The project's maturing now very nicely. It's now actually getting, I think, to a point where it's actually competing now with the big boys, where people look at Makulu, they don't just look, oh, that's a new distribution. I think it's getting to the point now where when they look at Makulu, they're comparing it to Mint, and they're comparing it to Ubuntu, and they're comparing, to Elementary or whoever else the big guys are. So I'm happy with that, and I'll keep pushing boundaries. So yeah, I suppose I'll chat to you guys soon in the forums and on the chat channel. We've got a little chat app on the website. I pop in from time to time. So yeah, if you see me, say how's it, and I'll chat to you guys soon.